Hi, this is Paul Fenn for another edition of Jeanneau Underway. Today, I'm in the Pacific Northwest where I catch up with Tor Johnson, professional photographer and Jeanneau owner, on location for a photo shoot aboard the beautiful Sun Odyssey 490. Take one look at Tor Johnson's photographs and it's easy to understand how so many of them have ended up on the cover of the world's premier sailing magazines. One shot in particular, of a beautiful champagne-colored Jeanneau 53, landed on the cover of Sailing Magazine. And I asked Tor if we remember taking that shot.
Absolutely. They almost ran me over.
Exactly. It was the best.
But no, Michael's a good sailor. He knows what to do. He sailed right past me. I trusted him. So yeah, it was just a beautiful day, and the water can be really clear off of Waikiki. You wouldn't expect it for such a populated place, but man, crystal clear water. Jumped in the water with a special dome that I have. It's a large dome that allows you to get an image above the water and below, so you can see both sides, which is something you don't normally get to see. So it's kind of a treat to see these images come out where you can see the keel and you can see the reef below, and you know, the boat sailing by, and the whole scene in one shot.
Growing up in California, Tor was introduced to sailing at a young age. And while most kids learn to sail on something like an Opti, Tor took a little less conventional route.
I started sailing when I was about 6 or 7 years old. We sailed from California, where we lived, down the coast and through the Panama Canal. And that was my introduction to sailing.
The son of a real estate developer, Tor's dad had a passion for cruising. And once he'd finish a project, he would gather up his family, load them on the boat, and set sail across the Pacific. Tahiti, Tonga, the Philippines, and Fiji were among the islands Tor visited along the way. Tor's love for photographing the world around him came after a fellow crew member gave him her old camera to use. Eventually, he would find his way to Hawaii, and I asked him how that all came about.
I went to Hawaii after I graduated from university to go to grad school in Japanese, of all things. So I studied Japanese and international marketing at University of Hawaii, but mostly I was surfing, to be honest.
Tor never left Hawaii, and after 20 years of putting his Japanese language skills to use, working in the film industry producing commercials primarily for the Japanese market, he turned his attention to his true passion, photography. Today, Tor and his wife Kayoko run their photography business out of their beach house on the island of Oahu, specializing in a variety of outdoor activities, from surfing to sailing and everything in between.
On the air, we do it island style. From the mountain to the ocean, from the windward to the leeward side.
In 2016, Tor ended up buying his own boat, a Jeanneau 44i that he found in Europe, and soon after sailed across the Atlantic to the Caribbean.
Well, we lucked out. We got a really nice Jeanneau 44i in La Rochelle, France, and outfitted her there. She had never sailed offshore. She had very few engine hours, just a boat in great shape and a wonderful sailing boat. And I got on that thing and I didn't want to come in. Matter of fact, I missed the tide in my first landfall. I missed the tide and got shut out of the harbor because they have huge tides there. So that was a little bit of a learning experience. But we sailed down the coast of France, Spain, Portugal, and just had a great crossing out to Madeira and across the Atlantic on that boat, and just recently sailed her through the Caribbean to Panama. And we put her on a ship from Panama, and she's on her way up to the Pacific Northwest right now as I speak. So.
After safely making landfall in Barbados, Tor was asked to sail Kayamana, that beautiful Jeanneau 53 that he had photographed, from Hawaii to Vancouver, an opportunity that he just couldn't say no to.
And I mean, come on, if someone's gonna let you sail their boat across the Pacific, you gotta say yes. So my boat's the smaller version, so it was a 44i, or it is a 44i, and that was a 53, and I thought, oh, it'd be nice to sail that boat and see how it goes. He needed his boat taken over to Vancouver Island. Michael's a Canadian. So yeah, so I got a crew together and we sailed it over for him. And that was a great crossing too. That was 15 days across from Hawaii to the Northwest, and we showed up with, I think, most of our fuel still. So, I mean, these are Briand designs. They sail beautifully, so you don't have to do much to get them going. And we had some, you know, just amazing days out there. Saw some amazing things. Saw sunfish in the middle of the Pacific in dead calm. It was a great crossing.
Over the years, I've been asked the question many times, is it possible for someone to sail a Jeanneau across the ocean? As someone who has done this exact thing more than once, I asked Tor how he felt about this question.
Well, you know, I think they build enough of them, they figure stuff out. They know how to build an efficient boat, and it's durable. I mean, I've sailed a Beneteau across the Pacific twice and a Jeanneau across the Atlantic, and yeah, they have all the latest gear on them. I mean, it's a well-built boat, and I wouldn't hesitate to go just about anywhere with one.
One question that I always like to ask, because there's always a story behind it, is how did you end up choosing the name for your boat? The name of Tor's boat is Keala. So I asked him, is there a story here?
Well, Keala, I came up with Keala being based in Hawaii and being really interested in Hawaiian culture. Keala means pathway, quite simply. And the Hawaiians believe that the ocean is a pathway between the islands, and it connects us all. So there's even a channel called Keala I Kahiki, which means pathway to Kahiki, which is possibly Tahiti. And that channel leads directly to Tahiti. So when the ancient Polynesian navigators sailed to Tahiti, they would take that pathway. And yeah, no, I just like the idea that the ocean connects us all rather than separates us all.
As our time together was winding down, I asked the obvious question. So what's next? What's your next adventure?
She's on her way now. She's on a ship, and she'll be offloaded in Nanaimo, which is just north of Victoria. And I'll pick her up in the next few days, like magic. I mean, that's a long slog to windward to go from Panama all the way up the west coast. Yep. So yeah, she'll be offloaded, and hopefully I'll just sail her away and take her down here and base her in the Northwest for a little while. There's just untold cruising to do up here, right?
We were quickly losing what was left of our day, so there was really just one thing left to do.
Oh, not too quick. I got a few minutes. We better have a beer. Okay. We're in the Northwest, we gotta have an IPA, right?
Oh, we gotta have one.
All right, thanks very much.
Thank you. Well, I had a great time talking with Tor, and I'm so looking forward to seeing the results of today's photo shoot. For the Jeanneau channel, this is Paul Fenn, and I'll see you next time on Jeanneau Underway.